Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Happy Monday, everyone. It is Motivational Monday, and I'm delighted you're here. It's so good to see you, Ellen and Deborah, Doris, Jeanette, and Corliss. Look at that, all rhymed. Not planned. Hello, Francesca. I'm glad you're here as well. Today's going to be kind of a unique day. We're going to be talking about soul hunger. This is personal for me, and I hope it's personal for you. I hope this lands where it needs to land for you today. There's my girl, Tanya. Alice, good to have you here. Paige in the house. Very nice to have you here. I saw a bunch of people, brand new people, probably, I don't know, maybe from YouTube, maybe, I don't know. Also from buying the new journal. Isn't it so delightful to have new people in our little world? So thank you for that. I want you to also know that this Wednesday is the workshop on cravings. And let me tell you, we're going deep and wide on this one. Deep and wide. There is so much to this whole cravings conundrum. And I know I'm not the only woman ever to have suffered through this whole thing. I'm sure there's going to be one or two other people who are with me on this, but I'm just going to make a mention that if cravings still bother you and you want to get on top of them and you want them to be a part of your history, then you can't miss this. You can't miss this workshop. It's this Wednesday. It's happening Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Go to savingdinner.com/cravings workshop. Cravings, because more than one, workshop. How do you like that? Hello, Sue. Hello, Patsy. I love it that you're here live too. So good to have everyone here. See, I've got my Full Bloom sweatshirt on from 2021 and enjoying my cuddle bear type of a sweatshirt. If you're chilly this morning, I feel you. It's chilly outside. The colors are just spectacular right now. My understanding is that we're going to peak at the end of the month, at least according to the almanac. I will be sending, you'll see pictures. I promise you, you're going to get the pictures. Because how many pictures can you see of leaves being reflected into a still lake? How many? I will tell you, there's not enough. You cannot do too many pictures of that. Am I right, Linda? Hello, welcome. So anyway, we are all here. We are ready to rock and roll on this stuff. I want you to know about the workshop. I want you to know about the journal, savingdinner.com/journal. Our very last rising tide is tomorrow night. Can you believe that? Just can't believe it. Margot is in the house. So is our Jocelyn. Guys, so good to have you here. So if you want your journal, you also get all the teachings that go with it. It's at savingdinner.com/journal. And we were just kind of cleaning up the distribution center. And let me say, we're getting down to it. We don't have that many left. So now's a good time to get on it, right? And now is a good time to talk about soul hunger, I think. Don't you? You ever felt that? Deep inside, you just feel like, there's just something. I believe that we all have this deep hunger inside our souls that require nurture and love. They require that. That is something that we all need. It is imperative. Every human soul on the planet needs this. They need this. As a matter of fact, with babies, when babies do not get enough love and nurture and care, they call it failure to thrive syndrome, meaning that there is nothing like the love and the care that we can provide as human beings one to another, right? That's our quote of the week, by the way. It is strong, be stronger than your strongest excuse. Think about that for a minute. How many excuses do you have? And by the way, I forgot to bring on TikTok, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Be stronger than your strongest excuse. Be greater than your most negative voice. I'm going to tell you why I love that quote so much, because everybody has a handy excuse ready. Every single person. But if we understand that, we can be greater. We can rise above that at any point that we decide. And part of the reason that I believe that we have these negative excuses, these incredibly strong excuses, is that inside of us, there is something wanting. There's something wanting. So it's easy to dismiss. It's easy to, step aside from all of that. But we're going to be talking about this hunger in our souls because it is absolutely imperative, because this is the thing that is going to help feed us and take us to that next level so that we can have the vibrant lives that we want. Our goal is a vibrant life after all. Okay? So we're going to be talking about that all today. All right. Hey, Vanessa, I'm glad you're here. And Jackie. I'm also going to mention that there's no substitute for your specific soul hunger. And there's no substitute for your recipe either. We all have our own recipe. We do. Now, as you know, I've written a few cookbooks in my time. And you know that sometimes in a recipe, you can substitute things. You could take out the regular flour and put in the almond flour. You can substitute a can of tomatoes instead of fresh tomatoes. But not when it comes to soul feeding. Your recipe is your recipe. And getting to know yourself on that level is absolutely imperative. Because when you start understanding that about yourself, then you'll know exactly what it is that you need, and you'll be able to go forward into that. It's absolutely imperative. I believe that we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. I believe that with all of my heart. Every single person is here on purpose and for purpose, and here at this time instead of some other random time. Now is the time. We are all unique, requiring a personalized and customized approach to feeding our own souls. Nobody gets to prescribe that for you, by the way. You're your own doctor, if you will, for figuring that part out. Nobody gets to say it's going to be this or it's going to be that. We can't crowdsource our soul feeding. We have to do it according to what it is that we need, 100%. So one size will never fit all. We know that for a fact. And this part of the path is where vibrancy is no different, right? This part of the path, because you've got to figure this out. We are all soul hungry. There is not a soul that isn't. All of us, we want love, we want connection, we want acceptance, we want significance, and we want purpose. And we want purpose in this life. We want to belong. We want to fit. We want to be a part of. We want to be useful, right? And we don't want to just take up space. I do not believe one single person on this planet is a biological accident. We are here on purpose and for purpose, and we all hotly desire having that purpose in our lives and knowing what it is. So that is what creates meaning in our lives, and that's what makes us strive for this connection and this vibrancy that we so desperately want. So we have to look at this. We can't just let it go by, and we can't just say, well, that's for other people and not for me. No way. It's for everyone. So what I'm saying to you then is this has to click for you. This has to be yours. This has to be your uniqueness, and it has to feel right. Like I said, you can't crowdsource this. You can't ask somebody else for their opinion, and you can't live your life for someone else. As you do, if you choose to do that, and I call it, basically tap dancing to somebody else's tune, when we do that, we experience a life that we're watching ourselves do instead of experiencing it ourselves. Does that make sense? In other words, it's just not us. It's not our life. Hey there, Liz. It's good to see you over there on TikTok. So I've experienced this as a calling in my life. My calling kind of found me, right? It did. And what I have found is that while I've been very blessed to have a purpose in my life and to help women over a certain age, you know what I do, and you know how much I love what I do. Um, I know that there is attention that needs to be given to my hungry little soul. I know that. I know that inside of me, there's a part of me that will only be fed if I purposely go out of my way to find what it needs to be fed with, right? It's sort of like if you're nutrient deficient in a certain way, you've heard this before. If you're craving a whole lot of chocolate, well, you probably need magnesium. There is some truth to that, and the science is kind of a mixed bag on it, but let's just go with that. Then let's go get the magnesium. Let's feed your body that way. Your soul is exactly the same way. It needs to be fed in a certain way. And I call this part the beautiful self. Inside the beautiful self, right here where we live, this is where empathy dwells and is developed and is loving. And that's part of your emotional intelligence. This is also where your soul is, your soul hunger. It's how your intuition develops. This is the thing, the part of you, the beautiful self, that often goes neglected. So what I would also say to you is, remember that the beautiful self isn't looking at the scale, isn't looking at you in the mirror, isn't saying, oh my gosh, look how much age you have on you now. The beautiful self doesn't do all of that. The beautiful self doesn't care what's on sale at Target this week. The beautiful self cares about your nurture of your soul, the connections, your belonging, and how you fit into this world. That's what your beautiful self cares about. So how do we take care of this? We're hungrier than we know because oftentimes we don't even think about it. And we need the sustenance so that we can open the door to develop a deeper soul, a bigger, beautiful self, more empathy. How do we do this? How do we feed our souls, in other words? Well, I've got 5 things for you and I think are going to help. And by the way, if you want our show notes, we have them at savingdinner.com. The little pop-up will give it to you so that you will get today's show notes into tomorrow's newsletter, first thing in the morning. Well, the first one, this is not going to surprise you, but the very first one is meditation. Meditation. You got to start within. When you start within, this is where you need to be still and know that I am God. Ever heard that psalm before? It's a beautiful one, and it's speaking about meditation. Meditation is being with yourself. It's connecting with yourself. And when you connect with yourself, you're giving permission also for yourself to connect with the divine. And it's a communion of quietness, a beautiful communion of quietness, a stillness that otherwise we will not experience unless we make the time to do it, unless we make the time to say it and to seek it out. Number 2 is journaling. And do you know what journaling is really? I really believe this. It's a conversation that you're having with yourself. It's an attempt to get rid of some stuff that's in there that's bugging you. It's an attempt to brain dump and get, some of these thoughts out. It's also a great way to sort. It's like sorting laundry for your soul. Okay. How many of you, seriously, a good question for you. How many of you would do the laundry and put your black socks in with the white fuzzy towels? What is that going to turn out? Do you think those black socks are going to end up with some white fuzzy towel stuff on it, or those white towels aren't going to get quite as clean as they normally would? We've got to do this. We've got to sort these things out, because when we do this journaling, we can sort. We can start saying, this keeps coming up. Is this even pertinent in my life anymore? Or is this something that needs to go? This needs to go into the experience file, this to be dumped. Because the experience file, remember, teaches us what we need to know, what the lesson is in what happened. We don't need to be rolling around and rolling around and rolling around in the mud anymore, do we? That's what happens when we keep, taking an experience on repeat. We roll around in it and it gets gross and it gets worthless and it doesn't help us at all. We need to maybe get into this place of understanding that this needs to go, this needs to stay here. This is a time of victory, and we need to mark those, by the way. When we mark those times of victory, you know what we're doing? We're saying to ourselves, yes, I have success in my life, and yes, this is important. So that's a really important thing. And then the third thing that we need to do is we need to pray. Pray. Now, there is no right or wrong way to pray. There is just prayer. Do you think that God is sitting there with a clipboard checking off the boxes and saying, she's not praying right, she's doing it right, good for her, not listening to that? Not at all. If it suits you, get on your knees. If it suits you, do a rosary. If it suits you, light a candle. If it suits you, just put your hands up to the sky and say, help. The point is that prayer acknowledges that we're not alone in this world and that we are willing and wanting to connect with that higher power up there or around there or wherever it is, he is or she is or God is. And it's just acknowledging that we're just these little people down here and there's this great big God. That's it. And it's a little bit of a communication situation. And what a beautiful thing that is. What a beautiful thing it is. And it's a soul connect for us right there. Number 4, you're going to be maybe a little interested in is create. We are creative by nature. How many times do you say, I'm just not creative? I'm not very creative. It's not true. That's not true at all. Maybe your creativity has lied dormant, but creativity comes in many different flavors, y'all. It doesn't mean that you have to be an expert crocheter or painter or whatever. It just means that you are willing to open up the possibility to being creative in some fashion. Maybe you have a creative way of speaking or you have a creative solution on the tip of your tongue. Maybe you have some kind of creativity that's just waiting for permission from you to open the door to that possibility. Ever think of that? I think about that all the time because creativity is for everyone, for everyone. So remember that how you create it, you get to be the chef on this whole thing. It's your recipe. How are you going to create? And remember, it doesn't necessarily have to do with any kind of art form per se, or writing, or something that we would say is typically in the creative field. It has to do with you and your ability to customize and create as we go. As we go. I mean, let me just say, getting dressed, that's creative every morning. Even though if you could see me right now, you'd say, not very creative, Leanne. But there's some times where, yeah, I could put together an outfit. That's creative, right? Number 5 is eat real food. That's right, eat real food. This is the stuff that promotes all the necessary nutrients that you need in your body so that this vehicle that you have, which, by the way, is the only one that you're going to get around carting your soul around all over town. That's the only thing that you have going for you. It includes the stuff that's good for your soul as well. There's no shortcuts to real, by the way, just an embrace. You have to decide on real and dump the fake, non-nutritive stuff and create an environment, create a refrigerator, create a mindset, create connections, relationships that feed your hungry soul. Because all of it boils down to this, that with all of these things, we're able to feed our souls. When we start going real low vibe on the food, real low vibe on the connections, low vibe on and dismissing ourselves and saying, I'm just not creative, it brings it all down. And it's not feeding your soul at all, not one little bit. The thing is that vibrancy is the prize to following these steps, vibrancy. But every single choice that we have, even every single thought that we have, is to create art, to food, to spiritual practices, and that all creates the path, all of it. And remember, art can be done in many different forms. And do you see the connection with all of this? Do you see the connections? I believe that life is a huge grand buffet of massive choice. There's so many things that we can choose. But how you choose and what you choose is a reflection of what you believe about yourself and what you believe about the world around you. We need to do better sometimes. There's some of us that are just, real good at all these other things, but just have neglected the journaling or never meditated in their lives, saying, I can't meditate, it's too hard. Well, give it all a try and choose wisely for all the things that we're doing, because all of these things are going to lead you to a vibrant life. Even if you don't know how, even if it's difficult at first, the thing is, it is imperative so that you can have your feet on the path to feeding your soul. That's how I like. That's how I love it. Yay! So who is coming here to the workshop on Wednesday? Don't forget, it is going to be a gangbuster workshop, and I have actionable steps that's going to be handed out in the workshop itself. It's at savingdinner.com/cravings workshop. I keep saying it wrong. savingdinner.com/cravings workshop. I sure hope to see you there. It's going to be great. Amber's going to be there. Are you? Peace be with you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you all. I'm going to see you tomorrow for Tuesday's Transformational Tip Tuesday, 1:00 p.m. Eastern, same time, same channel. We'll be here. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.